They say that real power is never loud. It doesn't scream from the rooftops. It doesn't boast on social media or seek the validation of the masses. Real power, it whispers, it waits, it architects. It hides in the shadows of history books, between the lines of bank ledgers that have remained closed for centuries. Before the central banks, before the global stock markets, and long before the empires of tech, there was a name that caused kings to tremble and wars to cease, not because of an army, but because of a ledger: the Rothschilds. Most people think they know the story. They think it's about money. They are wrong. It's about the architecture of power. Today, we open the forbidden archives. We are not just looking at history, we are studying the blueprint. Welcome to the Inner Circle. Wealth Architect, Episode 1, The Rothschild Blueprint. Chapter 2, The Ghetto Philosopher. To understand the empire, we must first understand the mind of the man who started it all. In the Judengasse of Frankfurt, Meyer Amschel Rothschild was not just a trader of old coins. He was a student of human nature. He lived in a world where he had no rights, no title, and no land, but he possessed something far more dangerous: a philosophical understanding of value. He realized that most people chase the shadow of wealth, the gold, the houses, the status. But Meyer, he chased the substance, trust, and information. He once said that money is the consequence of a well-architected system, not the goal itself. While his neighbors saw the ghetto walls as a prison, Meyer saw them as a filter, a place to sharpen his mind, to learn how to move in the dark without making a sound. He was a philosopher of the shadows. He taught his sons that the greatest weapon in the world is not a sword, but a secret shared between brothers. He understood that permanence requires a foundation that the world cannot see. He was not just a banker. He was the first architect, designing a blueprint that would last for centuries, long after the kings who mocked him were turned to dust. Value is not what you have, it is what you know that others do not. Chapter 3, The 5 Fingers. Meyer Amschel Rothschild knew that a single spark could be extinguished by a light wind, but a forest fire is unstoppable. He had built the foundation in Frankfurt, but the blueprint required expansion. It required a network that the world had never seen, an invisible bridge across a divided Europe. He looked at his 5 sons, Amschel, Salomon, Nathan, Kalman, and James. To the world, they were just brothers running a family business. But to the architect, they were the 5 pillars of a new global order. He gave them a symbol, 5 arrows bound together. He told them a single arrow is easily broken, but 5 arrows, bound by blood, are indestructible. This was the birth of the 5 fingers. Each brother was strategically sent to a heart of Europe, to London, to Paris, to Vienna, to Naples, while Amschel remained at the root in Frankfurt. They were not sent to trade, they were sent to infiltrate, to become the indispensable creditors of every crown, of every army, and of every government. Mayer gave them a code of silence that would last for centuries. Never let an outsider see the books. Trust no one but the blood. They developed their own private intelligence network, using the fastest horses and the swiftest ships. While the rest of the world waited for the news through official channels, the Rothschilds already knew the outcome of wars before the kings had even finished their dinner. They were no longer playing the game of kings. They were building the board and moving the pieces. The 5 arrows were now pointed at the heart of the continent, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Chapter 4: The Waterloo Heist. June 1815. The fate of the civilized world is being decided on a muddy battlefield in Belgium. Waterloo. 2 giants clash, Napoleon and Wellington. The outcome will determine the map of Europe for the next century. In London, the atmosphere is suffocating. The stock market is frozen in terror. If England loses, the economy will vanish. If England wins, a fortune can be made. But while the generals fought with cannons, Nathan Rothschild fought with time. He had built a private highway of information, a network of ships and riders that bypassed the official government mail. He knew the result of the battle 24 hours before the Prime Minister. Napoleon was defeated. England had won. But Nathan did not celebrate. He did something far more calculated. He walked into the London Stock Exchange. He stood by his usual pillar, and he looked broken. He began to sell, slowly at first, then with a desperate intensity. The room noticed. The whisper became a scream. Rothschild is selling. Wellington is defeated. The French are coming. The market went into a death spiral. Men threw their life savings away for pennies. Panic is the greatest architect of loss, and Nathan was its master. Then, in the final hour, as the market hit the absolute bottom, Nathan gave a silent nod to his agents. They bought everything, every single British bond, for a fraction of their value. The next morning, the official news arrived. Victory. The market skyrocketed. In 24 hours, Nathan hadn't just made a profit. He had effectively purchased the British economy. He once famously said, "I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England. The man who controls the British money supply controls the British Empire." And on that day, Nathan Rothschild became the empire. Chapter 5: The Invisible Creditors. Power, in its most primitive form, is visible. It wears a crown. It carries a sword. It commands an army. But the Rothschilds understood a deeper truth. True power is invisible. True power is the hand that signs the check for the king's army. After Waterloo, the Rothschilds became the lenders of last resort for all of Europe. From the crumbling ruins of the French monarchy to the rising ambitions of the Prussian Empire, no one could move without their consent. They did not seek to rule countries, they sought to own their debt. When a nation is in debt, its leaders are no longer sovereign, they are employees. They become beholden to the interests of the creditor. The Rothschilds were the architects of this new reality. They created the international bond market, a system where money could flow across borders, bypassing the laws of men. Even the Vatican, the most sacred power in the world, eventually had to open its doors to the 5 Arrows. When the Holy See faced financial ruin, it was not a miracle that saved them. It was a loan from James and Salomon. The world began to realize that there was a power behind the thrones, a power that did not care about flags or borders or religions. They were the invisible creditors, the men who owned the future because they held the receipts of the past. Chapter 6. The Psychology of Permanence. Most fortunes are like sand castles, built in a generation and washed away by the next. But the Rothschilds did not build for a decade, they built for centuries. What is the secret to permanence? It is not found in the vault, it is found in the mind. Mayer Amschel left a legacy that was more than gold. He left a psychological blueprint, a set of family laws that were more sacred than the laws of any nation. Total unity, absolute secrecy, and the preservation of the core. They understood that internal conflict is the only thing that can destroy an empire from within. While other wealthy families fought over inheritance, the Rothschilds operated as a single collective organism. 5 arrows, 1 heart. They practiced the art of being everywhere and nowhere. They intermarried to keep the capital within the bloodline. They avoided the vulgar display of wealth that attracts the envy of the masses. They stayed in the shadows because they knew that the sun only burns what it can see. They understood that to stay relevant, you must be adaptable. They moved from gold to rails, from rails to oil, and from oil to the very fabric of global finance. Permanence is not about staying the same. It is about evolving while the foundation remains immovable. They didn't just survive history, they waited for history to happen, knowing they were already the owners of the outcome. Chapter 7. The Architect's Lesson. We have walked through the ghetto. We have seen the 5 arrows strike. and we have witnessed the heist that changed the world. But what is the lesson for you, the observer? The Rothschilds did not win because they were lucky. They won because they understood that the world is not run by those who follow the rules, but by those who architect the system itself. They taught us that value is a perception, that information is the only true currency, and that unity is the ultimate force multiplier. The blueprint is not hidden. It is in plain sight, for those who have the eyes to see it. The question is not whether the system exists. The question is, are you a piece on the board, or are you learning to be the architect? The archives for today are closed, but the study of power has only just begun. This is Wealth Architect. Stay in the shadows, study the blueprint, and wait for your moment. Until next time.